Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something really fundamental. We're asking, where do our arguments, our sorrows, even those little desires we have, where do they actually start? We've got this incredible ancient text, the Kalahavivādasutta. It translates roughly to disputes and quarrels.
Sounds pretty relevant, doesn't it?
Exactly. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to unpack it. It's structured in this fascinating way, like a series of questions and answers.
Yeah, like peeling an onion.
Kind of. It just keeps stripping back the layers to show what's really driving our conflicts, our wants, and, well, how we see everything.
And what's amazing is how this, centuries-old text can trace these really complex human things, conflicts, anxieties, back to some surprisingly basic roots.
Simple, but profound.
Absolutely. We'll follow its logic, see how each answer just leads to the next deeper question. And that really brings up the big question for you listening. What can this ancient inquiry teach you about your own mind, your own interactions?
So let's start unpacking. The Sutta kicks off with this really powerful question and asks, from what are quarrels, disputes, lamentations, sorrows, and envy born?
It doesn't hold back.
No. And also, conceit, arrogance, and slander. It basically lists all the heavy stuff right away.
It does. And the answer it gives is, well, it might surprise you. It says these things are born of pia.
Pia. What exactly is pia?
It means pleasantness, affection, attachment is a good way to think of it too. What's really interesting is how it immediately connects that outward stuff, like quarrels, to this inner state.
Attachment to pleasant things.
Exactly. It says quarrels and disputes are rooted in envy, and slanders arise among those who engage in disputes. But the starting point, the real root, is this pia, this attachment to what feels good or what we like.
Okay, wow. So conflict isn't just about disagreeing, it's about clinging to something pleasant that maybe feels threatened.
That seems to be the implication. It shifts the focus inward.
Okay, so if pia, this affection or attachment, is the source of so much trouble, then the next logical question is obvious.
Where does that come from?
Precisely. And the Sutta asks just that. From what in the world is pia born? And it adds, so the greed that moves among people and hopes and expectations for the future. It bundles those together.
And the text tells us that pia, this pleasantness, this affection, along with greed, hope, expectations, all of it is born of chanda.
Chanda, another key term. What's chanda?
Chanda is often translated as desire, but it's maybe broader, like will or volition. It's that fundamental impulse of wanting.
So the wanting comes first.
It seems so.
Right.
The text suggests our attachments, our hopes for how things should be, they all spring from this underlying energy of desire, of chanda, that drive that I want.
Okay, this is like digging down layer by layer. If our attachments and hopes come from desire.
Then where does desire come from?
Exactly. So the Sutta asks, from what in the world is chanda born? And it also throws in judgments, anger, falsehood, and doubt. It connects desire to all those too.
And importantly, it also asks about the qualities taught by the renunciant, suggesting there's a known path related to understanding this.
Right, so the origin of desire itself.
Okay, this is a really crucial point in the text. It says chanda, desire, arises dependent on what is called satta and asatta in the world.
Satta and asatta.
Pleasurable and unpleasurable sensations, basically. Feelings.
Ah, okay. So desire isn't just random, it's a reaction to feeling good or bad.
Precisely. Our wanting springs directly from that raw experience. This feels good, I want more. This feels bad, I want it to stop. It's fundamental.
And what's fascinating is how it links that immediately to judgment. It says when someone sees existence, bhava, and non-existence, vibhava, and forms upesu, they make a judgment.
Right. Seeing things in terms of is or is not, often based on whether we find them pleasant or unpleasant, leads directly to forming opinions, judgment.
Like, I like this, it exists pleasantly for me, or I don't like that, I wish it didn't exist.
Kind of, yes. And it notes anger, falsehood, doubt. They all depend on this same duality, this satta-satta split. But it also offers a way forward.
The path of knowledge?
Yeah, it says, one who is doubtful should train for the path of knowledge, learn the qualities taught by those who renounce this cycle, suggesting understanding these roots is key.
Okay, so sensations, pleasant and unpleasant, are the root of desire and judgment. Where do the sensations themselves come from? The Sutta keeps digging.
It does. It asks, essentially, what's the origin of satta and asatta? And it also adds, from what is born the very notion of existence and non-existence as oneself. So where does our very sense of self, in a way, come from?
And the answer is surprisingly simple.
Profoundly simple. It says, these sensations and that concept of self as existing or not existing, they are born of phassa,
Phassa.
contact, sense impression. The simple meeting of a sense organ, like your eye, with an object like a color, and the consciousness that registers it.
Contact. Like seeing, hearing, touching.
Yes. And thinking, too, mind is considered a sense here. The text is clear. When phassa is absent, these do not arise. Without that initial contact, there's no sensation, no pleasant, unpleasant feeling to react to.
Wow, so everything builds on that first moment of sensory input.
It seems to be the foundation, according to this text.
Okay, the chain continues. If sensations come from contact, phassa, where does phassa come from?
The sutta pushes further. It asks about the origin of phassa, contact, and also brings in possessions, paragaha.
Possessions, like things we own.
It can mean that, but maybe also things we grasp onto mentally. The question gets really pointed. When what is absent, is there no mind, matam? And when what is dissolved, do contacts not touch? It's linking contact, possessions, and that sense of mind.
Okay, so what is the origin of contact and this mindness?
The text reveals that contacts phassa arise dependent on nama and rupa.
Nama and rupa. These sound important.
They are central. Nama is mentality, consciousness, feeling, perception, intention. Rupa is materiality, form, the physical body and world. Contact happens because there is a mind and body to make contact with and through.
So mind and matter are the basis for contact.
Right. And then it hits us with this. Possessions are born of icha.
Icha, another word for desire.
Very close. Often translated as wishing or craving. It's a strong form of wanting, and the text states it directly. When craving icha is absent, there is no mind.
No mind. That's huge. So the feeling that something is mine comes directly from craving it.
That's the connection it makes. And it adds, and when form rupa is dissolved, contacts do not touch. Linking the dissolution of form to the cessation of contact.
Okay, when form is dissolved, that sounds abstract. How does form dissolve? And how does that stop suffering?
It's definitely subtle. The sutta describes the state where form dissolves as belonging to one who is neither perceiving perception nor disperceiving perception, nor non-perceiving, nor having dissolved perception. It's quite a mouthful.
Yeah, what does that actually mean? It sounds like a riddle.
It kind of does. But the essence seems to be about a radical shift in your relationship to perception itself. Not grabbing onto it, not pushing it away, not blanking out, not even being attached to the idea of dissolved perception. It's moving beyond the usual ways the mind constructs reality based on perception.
So it's not about stopping seeing or hearing, but changing how the mind processes or clings to what's seen or heard.
That seems to be the direction. It's about dismantling the mental scaffolding we build around our raw perceptions.
Because the text says our mental constructions, our proliferations, like our stories, judgments, comparisons,
Exactly, Papa Mikasa.
they are fundamentally rooted in perception. Sanyananan. So changing how we relate to perception cuts off the fuel for all that mental noise.
That's the idea. If you change the relationship at the root, the downstream effects, the judgments, desires, conflicts start to unravel.
So that's the ultimate goal then, this state related to perception.
Well, the sutta presents it as a high attainment. It says some wise ones call this dissolution of perception the ultimate purity. Yakasuddhi.
The ultimate purity. Okay.
But then, interestingly, it adds a nuance.
Oh.
It says others, skilled, speak of a state without clinging, anupadizis, as even more skillful.
A state without clinging. So maybe even beyond that specific state of perception, the real goal is just no clinging to anything.
That seems to be the subtle distinction it offers. Perhaps the perception state is a means, but the ultimate end is total non-attachment.
And the text concludes by talking about the wise sage, the muni.
Right. The sage, knowing all these dependencies we've traced, how contact leads to feeling, feeling to desire, desire to clinging, clinging to conflict.
Understanding the whole chain.
Yes, and investigating their own clinging, nisse sovimasi, becomes liberated, vimuto, freed.
And that liberated sage.
Does not enter into disputes, and importantly, does not converge to existence or non-existence.
Yeah.
They're beyond taking sides, beyond getting caught in those conceptual traps.
Wow. So understanding this whole chain, from the simplest contact right up to arguments, actually leads to a state beyond all that, beyond dispute, beyond clinging.
That's the path it lays out, seeing the illusion of mind, the arising and passing of phenomena based on conditions.
What a journey. We've gone from quarrels and sorrow all the way down to mind, matter, contact, sensation, desire, craving, and finally, perception and clinging.
Yeah, peeling back those layers really reveals the interconnectedness of it all. Disputes from affection, affection from desire, desire from sensation, sensation from contact, contact from mind and body, and craving driving that sense of mine.
And the crucial thing, as you said, is it's not just describing the problem.
No, not at all. It's pointing to a path. By understanding this chain, by seeing it operate in ourselves, it suggests a way out, a way to find, well, a much deeper peace. It gives you a framework for seeing why you react the way you do.
So the takeaway for you listening, what does this mean practically? Maybe consider this. If our arguments and unhappiness really are rooted in attachments and desires,
Which come from how things feel to us.
which comes from basic contact,
Mm-hmm.
what might actually change if you started to really watch that process in yourself? If you could observe that sense of mind popping up about possessions or ideas or even people.
What if you could catch that moment when a pleasant or unpleasant feeling arises and just notice the desire or aversion that follows before it turns into a full-blown judgment or conflict?
Just observing that chain reaction is definitely a challenging thought, but a powerful one to end on. Seeing the roots could really change everything.